Hello, this is Ryan Ebert doing video blog chapter 11, or 10 and 11. All right. Okay, first question. What are your thoughts, both pro and con, regarding the development of the gaming entertainment in your geographical area? South Carolina is still very strict with gambling, and casinos and stuff. So, we have zero gaming development in this area. So, there's just no development. So I have no actual answer for that question because this area is very strict still. There is not a casino within 3 hours of where I'm at. So would it or has it helped hinder the community? I do think if we were to add casinos, I think it would dramatically hinder the area in the short term because for one thing, it'd be something new to go do, and gambling you'd be pretty much putting a bunch of people that probably aren't exactly used to gambling into the same casino, and I just don't. I feel like people would really lose a lot of money in the short term, and because I do know also I have a lot of friends that you can get a bookie in this area and sports gamble, sports bet. And I have a ton of friends that religiously sports bet, and so I know every one of them would be in the casino every Friday and Saturday, just probably blowing money. And so, in the long term, it would even out as people get more used to it, and it becomes a more of a regular thing. But when it first comes, if it ever comes to South Carolina, I feel like it would be pretty hindering for the first, couple months to a couple years or so. How would you work to mitigate any negative issues? I would think in an area like this, if gambling was to become legal, like casinos and stuff, I would think an area like this would benefit greatly from almost like some sort of a stop loss system, and a max bet size for new gamblers type of thing. Like if you come in and you've never been to a casino, you can only be allowed to spend so much money, and if you lose a certain amount of money, then you're immediately cut off for the time. And I realize that casinos aren't going to do that because they're trying to make as much money as possible on people that don't know what they're doing. But I'm just, for the sake of the assignment, how would you work to mitigate the negative issues? That's probably what I would do. Is I would have some sort of stop loss for people to where if they lose a certain number, they're immediately cut off. They can't keep gambling at the moment. And then also a max bet for new gamblers. Like if you're someone that's never been in a casino, you can only put so much money into it before you're out for the day, for the week or whatever it is. Just been hired as a general manager, private club. What do you think your members expect that would be different from going to a public golf course, restaurant, or event facility? Since it's private, I would make it a little more classy, upscale, high class type of environment, and so that could be what the members expect to be different is to instead of going to a public club where you never know what's going to happen depending on where you're at, this you would go in with an expectation of we're going out for a classy night, we're going out for a high class, high scale type of environment that's not everyone can go in, not everyone can be there. That's the whole point of it being a private facility. What would you tell your staff to do to increase member satisfaction? Well, since it's private, I feel like you wouldn't exactly have to tell them to do anything different because the clientele is already going to be a better clientele than if it was a public facility. The only thing I would say is just for them to look out for people that aren't keeping up with the the standard. If you have someone that's not up to standard that's in there, that's a member, you could always just tell them to calm down or kick them out, or if it's a repeat offender, then you would take their membership away, stuff like that. That's the only thing I would tell my staff to do because I feel like member satisfaction would be considerably higher due to it being a private facility, already off the top without, what I'm saying. Would members need to be treated any different that the general public? If so, how? Yes and no, because kind of the same thing as the last question. I said that you wouldn't treat them any different up front. You wouldn't treat them any differently up front because they're still just clientele. They're still, just normal people, but you would hold them to a higher standard, and so like you would treat them different in a sense that like if they were to say a certain thing or do a certain thing or act a certain way, the general public, you might let that slide. But like at a private facility, if they were to do something that kind of crosses that standard, that line, then it's like, all right, well, we got to do something about the situation because this is just not going to work, And so I think that is it for this one. And like I said, this is Ryan Ebert for Video Blog Chapters 10 and 11.